Hi, and welcome to the Healing Journey. My name's Chanin. I'm a licensed massage therapist, certified Reiki master teacher, clinical herbalist, and a certified holistic practitioner. This is a space where we will explore the mind and body and spirit connection, natural healing, and practical tools that you can use to feel more balanced, empowered, and home in your own body. Today, I've been actually thinking about this topic for a while, and it can be a little bit touchy, but I'm going to ask you all a question. Have you ever called your massage therapist a masseuse? And did you realize it might be offensive? So now we know why it's a little touchy. Anyway, I'm not here to offend or judge or call anybody out, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to educate, and I'm here to give you the reasons why, not for shame, not for judging, but to explain to you why that might not be the best thing to say to your massage therapist. In all of my sessions, all my recordings and podcasts, you'll always hear me call them therapist or massage therapists, because that's our title. And today we're going to talk a little bit about where the term masseuse came from, or masseur for a man, how it evolved, and why we are now called massage therapists. It's just words change over time, and we need to be up to date with that sometimes. So I want you all to think about that question. Have you ever called your massage therapist a masseuse? And did you realize it was offensive? Well, let's talk a little bit about the actual origin of the word. There's three different places that this word comes from, masseuse comes from. In French, it was masseur, and it meant to rub. In Arabic, it was massa, and it meant to touch or to feel. And in Portuguese, it was amassar, to knead. So all of these were different ways, different cultures talked about massage. And eventually, it became the word masseuse or masseur. Masseuse was used for females, masseur was used for males. In the late 1800s, sorry, I need my notes for this because this is a big history lesson. A masseuse or masseur was a respected medical profession. In the late 1800s, all over Europe, United States, it was a respected medical profession. So at that point in time, calling somebody a masseuse or masseur, perfectly acceptable. These people worked in nursing homes, they worked in hospitals, they worked in healing spas like tuberculosis spas and places like that. They were part of the medical profession. In the early 1900s, licensing began happening in the United States. The rest cure became popular, which was more or less monthly massages. And the profession actually gained more respect in the medical field. So, 1800s, 1900s, massage was a medical profession. They were ranked up there with nurses. And I don't want to say doctors, because doctors have way more education, and I will give them that. I know some doctors I wonder about, but for the most part, I give doctors their respect because I've seen doctors in their residency. It's not pretty, but But yeah, massage therapists were ranked up there with nurses and were part of the medical treatment. They were part of the medical system. And it's wild how something that is so respected can be completely flipped over time. So let's talk about when things went sideways, shall we? It was in the 1890s when brothels were no longer allowed to be brothels. So they decided to call the brothels massage parlors. And this was the term that they used. Oh yeah, I know a good massage parlor. You need to go to that place. It was code for prostitution. They did this because then the public couldn't tell the difference. And it's not that, from my understanding and from the research I did, it was not my understanding that the police even would acknowledge that the massage parlor was not a massage parlor, because as long as the public didn't see it, they didn't care. They probably frequented it. Let's just be totally honest. It was all about appearances. It was a massage parlor. It wasn't a brothel. Massage was respected. And here you could go and get a massage. I still wonder how the public didn't catch on, but it didn't. So here comes these massage parlors. The people that worked there were definitely not trained medical professionals. And like I said, in the early 1900s, they started getting licensed. So in the 1890s, nope, they definitely were not licensed. And even into the 1900s, were not getting licensed. They had their own careers, but they had to hide their careers because the public didn't see them as a respected career. So they took the title away from others. They called themselves masseuses. They called themselves masseurs. They took a respected medical title for a different job. So here comes the 1950s and 60s, and you get the relaxation massage, which became another euphemism for something else. And it was in this time, the 1950s and 60s. Now, by this point, licensing had been around for more than 50 years. States were licensing their massage therapists. They were still called masseuses, and they were masseuses and masseurs, and they were licensed, and they were still working in hospitals, and they were still doing all this. But then you had this other group calling themselves the same thing. But it was in the 1950s and 60s that sexual services became linked to the term masseuse. More so masseuse than masseur, because there weren't as many men in that field of work. Not that there weren't any, but less. So the massage therapy industry in 1943, even before the relaxation massage came around, the American Association of Masseuses and Masseurs decided that they needed a new term for the medical side of things. And in 1958, they finally came up with a term that they all agreed on, and they renamed the American Association of Masseuses and Masseurs to the American Massage Therapy Association. And they now called the medical massage therapists. And it was intentionally renamed to say therapist, to keep it more in line with the medical side of things. However, the damage had kind of been done at that point. But yeah, so there is a difference. So I just want you all to think about this. This was an industry that literally got hijacked by another industry and is still to this day feeling the effects of that. Imagine it were your profession that got hijacked. How would you feel about that? how would you feel about being called something that the people that hijacked it took away from you? That may not be something you want to be associated with. Now, again, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not judging. I'm just saying they're different professions. Different professions. Let's talk about what it takes to be a massage therapist. I know I've hit on this a little bit before, but let's talk about this again, because it's not as simple as you think. And actually, because of this hijack of our industry, the title, not even the industry, but the hijacking of our title, has had many states no longer consider massage therapy as a medical service. And that has hurt us in a way. But let's talk about what is required to become a massage therapist. Most states require anywhere from 500 to 1,000 hours of education. This includes anatomy and physiology. It includes pathology and contraindications. It includes ethics, law, business. It's just a whole ton of science. Trust me, science. It's hard. And business that you have to learn before you're even eligible to graduate from your program, let alone get licensed. All right, so this is just to get out of your program. You have to have between 500 and 1,000 hours of education. The states tell you how much education you have to have. New York, Nebraska, Puerto Rico require 1,000 hours of education. Maryland is, 600 in-classroom hours and 120 clinical hours. So 720 hours. That's about the same amount of time as it would take to get an AA, an associate's degree at a community college. So it's a little short, but not by a whole lot. And it's intense and it's very in-depth because it's not just learning how to rub somebody. You have to know how the muscles move, how they're attached to the body, how their muscles are attached to the bones, where they insert, where they originate, how they function with it's a lot more than just a basic knowledge.
Sponsored by Dublin Roasters is the Frederick Coffee House, fueled by love and positivity. Visit Dublin Roasters at 1780 North Market Street or at DublinRoastersCoffee.com, where you can order online and have coffee shipped right to your door. You can sign up for a monthly membership as well, open for curbside and deliveries 7 days a week. Sponsored by Fusion Car Wash, now with 2 locations in Frederick to serve you. One on Spectrum Drive near the FSK Mall, which is a full-service location, and TJ Drive with self-serve vacuums. Download the free Fusion Car Wash app and sign up for a monthly membership, and you can keep all your cars clean daily. FusionCarWash.com.
So let's say that you finished your classes and you graduated from your program. All right, so I'm very comfortable with talking about Maryland because that's where I'm at. So in Maryland, each state is different. They all have their own massage boards, but in Maryland, we have to have 600 classroom hours. We have to have 120 clinical hours. That's working on the public in a clinical setting where they come in. We have to be CPR and first aid and AED certified. All right, so we have to be able to use the CPR, we have to know a lot of first aid, and we have to know how to use a defibrillator. Then we have to know, or we have to pass the MBLEX. The MBLEX is the massage and bodywork, I forget what the L is, exam, but it's an exam that the Federation of I can't remember that now either. But technically, it is an association that body workers are part of, and they created this exam, and it's like a national exam. And we have to take this national exam. and we have to pass it with an 80. It has 5 different sections, and it's anatomy and physiology, it's business, it's all the different pieces that we have to know to be massage therapists. It's 100 questions, all multiple choice, and we have to go to a place where the same place where real estate agents go to get their testing, the same place for contractors and people that are going into that field that are trying to get licensed to get their licensing. So it is monitored. It's not like we can sit there and just take it. We have to go to a location, give them our ID, put everything in a little box, and go in a room with headphones so that we can't hear anything and take this test. Totally not intimidating at all. And then you have 100 questions, and these questions are intuitive. So the better you do, the harder they get. And they don't say, oh, this section is here. They're throwing all these different things at you, just like it would happen in a massage. You have to listen to the muscles. You have to know this. It doesn't come in sections. You have to pass with an 80. They don't tell you how much you pass or fail by. So you could fail by 1. You don't know. It's just pass or fail. So that's not intimidating either. Just as a little side note, I can remember question number 93. This will stay with me because I cried in the middle of my test. Well, toward the end of my test, I knew 3 words in that question. I knew 3 words. I had no idea. I picked C because everybody picked C, and it moved me to the next one. But it wasn't intimidating at all. Anyway, I got through that. That's the MBLEX. Now, in Maryland, you have to pass the MBLEX to be eligible to take the Maryland exam. So now I have another exam to take. And this exam for Maryland is our jurisprudence test. So it's all about the laws surrounding massage in Maryland that we have to know to be eligible to be licensed. Now, some of these laws or some of the questions were like, how much are you going to be fined if you do not update your address before 30 days are up if you move? $75. I could be wrong there, but it could be that. But it could also be, if we catch you doing this, what's going to happen? So you have to know the laws. It wasn't as hard as the MBLEX, I will give it that. And I don't know how they do it now. I did it before COVID, but they put us on a room with, I swear this guy was a drill sergeant, and he would scream at you if you didn't follow instructions. It was even more intimidating than the MBLEX. And it was only 50 questions with a Scantron and a pencil. But I hear it's better now. I hear it's like proctored, but still online or something. Anyway, it was really intimidating. And it was only given once a month. I think it's more now, but once a month. And you had to go to Baltimore and get screamed at by this guy to take the test. So once you finish and pass your jurisprudence test, then you can pay to have your license. So that's just to get licensed in Maryland. Some states are easier, some states are harder. It just depends on the state. But Maryland's pretty hard. On top of that, we have to renew every 2 years. Every October on even years, like this year is a renewal, it's 2026. October 31st, we have to have our license renewed. That means we have to have 24 hours of continuing education done before we can ask for a renewal. That is 16 hours of massage education and 7 or 8 hours of HIV/AIDS communicable disease, ethics, diversity, and implicit bias. So we have all this to do. It has to add up to 24. And then we have to pay a fee. Actually, our fee is one of the highest in Maryland to be licensed. We actually pay more to be licensed for 2 years than registered nurses. And we do this every 2 years. So it's not like we just go learn how to rub something, oh, I'm good. It's way deeper than that. And it's much more intense even after you get licensed. And I'm not saying other things aren't as important, but being a massage therapist is not easy when it comes to actually getting licensed, especially in Maryland. Another point, schools are expensive. Schools right now are ranging somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 for this education. And in Maryland, we're not allowed to take tips for our clinicals. We cannot get paid for clinicals, so we're giving the schools 120 hours of free labor. They're getting paid because they charge the clients to come in. We see nothing, which is fine. We're not licensed. I get that. But no tips or anything. Once we are licensed, we have to pay for insurance. We have to pay for our licensing. If we work for ourselves, we have to pay for our space. We always have to pay for continuing education. So it's not like this is a cheap career. It costs a lot of money to get into this. No, we do not pay hundreds of thousands of dollars like other careers do. But considering, it is a good little chunk of change. And with all of that, we still get a lot of disrespect. We still get sexually explicit emails and texts. And we even get calls about explicit requests. Even legitimate places that are wellness centers will get calls like this. The Healing Storm Holistic Wellness Center. And we still get calls. I own this wellness center. Oh, here's the best part of this. I got a call today. It was actually a text today for something like this. And it did not end well for the person. Let's just say he got called out. But yeah, it's something that happens a lot. And it's very frustrating. Again, I'm not dissing on any career, but that's not our career, especially in the legitimate wellness centers. My wellness center, we take health insurance. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce. I have had clients that I've had for 5-6 years. Some of my other therapists here have had clients for 5 or 6 years that now come here to see them. We are legitimate. I have business insurance. I have all this other stuff that says I'm legitimate, and I'm still getting these inappropriate calls. So this is why I'm kind of having this conversation. So it's more than just the title. It's building up the respect again that massage therapists really do deserve. It's not just about rubbing. It's not just about, moving a muscle. It's a science. It's a science of muscles. It's a science for pain relief. It's a science for posture realignment. We are massage therapists, and we offer a completely different service than a masseuse. And we deserve to be called what we are, massage therapists. So here's a final question. What other professions do you think suffer from language that undermines their legitimacy? How many times have you heard a doctor called a quack? How many times have you heard lawyers called derogatory terms because they're lawyers? How many times have you called somebody a secretary who was an administrative assistant or executive assistant? How about teachers being called glorified babysitters? This happens a lot to a lot of industries, but definitely we have to be more considerate of people. And we have to call them, especially in workplaces, in professional areas, their titles and give them the respect they deserve. So, at your next massage appointment, remember to call your massage therapist. Don't call them masseuse. Just out of pure respect for this person's education, the time they've taken to learn how to make you feel better, give them that respect. And if you've ever called your massage therapist a masseuse and now you're embarrassed, don't be. Now that you know, you've learned, you've grown, and you won't make the mistake again. And they will so appreciate it. You will see them smile. I can almost 100% guarantee that if you call them massage therapist, they will definitely appreciate it. As always, if this episode has made you think about your own interactions with massage therapists or what massage therapists have to deal with and put up with, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us get the messages out. If you have more questions about massage, holistic wellness, or alternative health, please let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to answer them either in the comments or with another video. And until next time, take care of yourself and trust your body. Honor your energy and keep choosing what brings you back to balance. Bye.